Sponsored by 666bet.com.
This is Kugan Cassis for IFL TV in association with Macklin's Gym Alba and 666bet. We're in Liverpool here. They have the undercard press conference. Right now we're in the hotel of Anthony F. Joshua. How are you, sir?
I'm feeling great, Kugan.
Yeah?
I'm feeling great.
Let's get the formalities out of the way. Press conference today.
Yeah.
Michael Sprott was there. I felt Michael Sprott was being a little bit over respectful to you today in the press conference.
You never know, man. I've had experience. I'm going to just say it, but it could have been a game plan. It might not have been a game plan. You know, not every fighter that you're competing with is going to be negative towards you and what you've achieved. And I think that he's a respectable man, been raised by some good parents, and that's just the man that he is. So all credit to him.
I was just having this conversation with someone earlier on, and your previous 9 opponents have kind of been the same. No one's really, not trying to rattle you in a press conference, but it'd be interesting to see what response they get from you if they approach the press conference in a different way. I'm not encouraging anyone to do that. I'm just saying it'll be interesting to see what that would be like.
Yeah, it would be, you know. It would be interesting to see my response. You got two things. You got a Tyson manner, you got a Vladimir Klitschko manner. So it'd be interesting to see which way I sway.
Are you talking about Mike or Mr.
Mike?
Oh, right,
Mike
okay.
Tyson.
Okay. Listen, all in all, he was, you know, he said it was going to be a big challenge. He knows it's going to be a big challenge, but Sprott's been around and he's boxed at all kinds of levels.
Correct.
And he's not coming here with the mentality as well, I'm just going to be another.
Yeah, and I think as well, like, you know, a lot of the opponents, they've flown over from different countries, and as I was saying earlier, like the media, the expectations like that they've never seen before. And when Eddie's talking and he's doing his job of promoting myself and he's mentioning all my credentials and stuff, it could be a bit daunting for these guys. I think Wes Sprott's been a part of the UK atmosphere anyway. He's travelled to Germany, he's been the underdog. I think that none of this is new to him. He's got nothing to lose, everything to gain. He's back on Sky Sports, you know, he's used to being shown on TV here. So I think he ain't got nothing to lose, which could cause a threat. But I'm really relaxed, I'm calm. But I'm just giving you everything that could potentially go wrong.
Is this the end of phase 1 or the start of phase 2?
Let's get this out of the way, and I think this is the end of phase 1.
Yeah.
I think next year is the start of phase 2.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard some opponents Eddie's mentioned potentially for January the 31st. And if it's who he's talking about, it's going to be, like I said, a good start to the year for you, as in moving on to that phase 2.
Yeah, 100%. It's going to be a tough start. I think, you know, 9-0, 10-0 so, and it'll be good to be under the radar, but every fight seems like a championship fight. A lot of the pressure, because I think there's big fights to happen, so I'm getting fast-tracked a bit. So my competition will be a lot more stiff next year for sure.
Does it frustrate you that your name gets used in like a game in the heavyweight scene to make potential fights next year by people like me, by people like your promoter, by the outside public? Does that frustrate you a little bit or not?
It more interests me. It's hard to say, because I can give you an answer now that when I'm alone later on in the evening relaxing, I could be thinking about this interview. I could think, why didn't I say this? Why didn't I say that? But to sum it up, I think that, remember I started boxing 2008. You know, I had my first fight at the end of 2008 in November, carried on. So 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So 6 years ago, I wasn't spoken about. Now you've got like guys like Klitschko that showed me a lot of respect, to unbelievable athletes, unbelievable person, intelligent man that are talking about me. Then you got people that are quite negative as well. So it's like now my name's being thrown around this big whirlwind, and it's quite interesting to me is how did I become such an interesting figure in boxing, and will I live up to expectations? You know, will I underachieve? It's just all interesting to me because it wasn't planned. I'm just trying to ride the wave and ride it as well as possible while it's going.
I think what people do realise is that yourself, you don't ever hype yourself up, and you've never done that. You've never bigged yourself up. You've just talked about the opponent in hand, and that's all you've done. And you've talked about what you've already done, which is relatively, not nothing, but you haven't done, you know, nowhere near what you aspire to achieve.
Yeah.
So it's people like I said, the job of your broadcaster and your promotional team to do that. But when people hear things like Eddie Hearn say Joshua would beat people like Tyson Fury, Derek Chisora, David Price now, that's obviously going to spark a reaction. So this is where this all stems from, and then your name gets put into different interviews, different conversations, blah, blah, blah. You haven't actually said anything, but being promoters and being broadcasters, they thrive off this stuff. So,
well, I think like as an athlete, you got to have a bit of a business mind on your shoulder as well. So you got to understand the reasons people do stuff. I got to understand the reason Kugan Cassius asks questions to myself. You know, I got to understand the reasons behind certain people's actions, and I understand why Eddie says the things he does. I understand why Sky promoted me the way they do, and I understand why I chose to go with Eddie and why I chose to go with Matchroom as a promotional company and Sky as my network company and stuff. So before I turned professional, I already gauged the expectations, the hype, you know, everything that's happening now. I kind of gauged this already. So the reason why I don't let it get to me is because before I took the step, I already prepared myself. But it just interests me that, wow, everything I did predict is happening, but a bit more than I expected. And it's just understanding that these guys are doing their job, I'm doing my job in the ring. So if I put on a great performance, you're already going to tell me I'm ready for the next level up. And when you look at it in Britain, the next level up is the likes of Fury, Chisora, so on and so forth. So it is what it is, really, isn't it?
So just a blatant question, that's what your promoter thinks, what he said about you would have the ability to beat those people now, but as in terms of experience, you're not quite there yet.
With or without experience, I think a fight's a fight. You do learn, don't get me wrong. But I think for sure I'm showing promise, and I'm showing ability, I'm showing promise that I could definitely beat these guys. And there's nothing wrong with him believing that. There's nothing wrong with myself believing that at all. And I'm sure there's people who don't believe it, and I'm sure there's people who do believe it. And this is what the world is about, is freedom of speech and freedom of opinion. Everyone's just stating their opinion. That's why I don't take it to heart and start effing, blinding, do you know what I mean? Running my mouth, because I just know it's everyone's opinion. Until the bell rings for round 1, or the referee jumps in and stops it, someone's lying on the canvas, or bell rings for round 12 and someone gets a decision. It's all an opinion. That's when it becomes facts. Do you know what I mean? So that's why I don't let it get to me. It will get to me if I lost, because everything that I believed in myself that I can do, which I do believe I'll beat these guys, it's all hearsay. It's not the truth. So until it's facts, solid, the fight happens, we get the result, that's when it'll be either a great victory or a miserable fail. But at the minute, it's all opinions, and I won't let it bother me. I just keep on living my life the way I've been living it for the last 25 years.
Have you heard this term media profile in reference to Tony Bellew? Have you heard about this?
Media profile?
Media profile. Basically, there was, when Cleverly and Bellew were on ringside recently, there was a psychologist that come on, and he was talking about Tony Bellew's media profile. And he kind of assessed Tony Bellew from his sort of line of work, and Tony Bellew lost it, and
you know, yeah,
and blah, blah, blah.
That, to be fair.
You saw that?
Yeah.
So Tony Bellew doesn't believe that he should or does have a media profile. Do you believe you have a media profile?
Oh, he doesn't believe he does, or like he doesn't.
Well, he doesn't think you should be judged upon 100%, certain things.
I agree.
Yeah.
100% I agree. But I think if you're on TV enough times, people get to understand like your character. I think I've been in front of the camera enough times, people to judge me. So far, against the characters I've come across, I haven't come across anyone crazy, or no one, as you said, like in the press conferences, you haven't seen me face to face with someone who's being disrespectful, so you haven't seen a different side of me. But so far, I think you've seen someone who's collective, quite educated, not your normal stereotype young black male either. And I'm just getting on with what I'm doing, and I'm really blessed and understand the opportunity I have in front of me. And I think you see someone who's making the most of it and hungry to achieve it, to achieve great things in boxing.
Is your media profile, though, a true reflection of who you are? I'm talking about you personally. No,
definitely not. Because I think you can't have a camera around me 24/7 to really like see what I'm like in the morning, in the afternoon, see what it's like. A family member passed away, if a family member had unbelievable amount of success, just the day-to-day small things. You know, when you forgot you're late already to training, and you forgot your wallet at home and you got to go back. When a driver cuts you up, you know, you just these little things when you get to know someone's character. And I think the great thing about sport is that if you have a long career, you grow with that person. A lot of people, which I think is great, which I think Eddie's doing a great job. We've got people following me from day one. Hopefully I have a long career where they can follow me right through. And then hopefully I'll be around and in enough interviews, be on TV enough times that they can really gauge my character, because understanding someone takes years. You don't get to know someone in a year or 6 months. It takes a long time.
No, it's interesting. Like I said, whether people believe that they should have one or not, a media profile, they have got one. I can understand it from that sort of point of view. But I said Tony Bellew's character, like the guy assessed Tony Bellew's character from that side of it, and
that's his opinion.
Yeah,
I think that's what I'm saying. I like what Tony Bellew said, because he doesn't know. That's what I'm saying. He doesn't know Tony Bellew on a day-to-day lifestyle. He only knows him from a half-an-hour TV program to him fighting in the ring where he's not even talking. He's just showing his ability of what he's been training to do. And I like what Tony Bellew said. You can't really say this is who Tony Bellew is, this is what he represents, because it is just an opinion.
The media in this country can work equally for you as it can against you.
Yeah.
But you've had no reason for the media to work against you since you've turned professional. So, good thing or a bad thing?
Brilliant thing. It's a positive thing, you know. I think I'm holding it down. I think I've got great people around me. I'm with great people. I've chose to be around great people as well. You know, a lot of people that make mistakes is off their own back. They are in control of their destiny. I'm in control of my destiny. So I think I've chosen to do some of the right things. I've seen people who have done right things before me and what it's got them. I've seen people who've done wrong things before me, seen what it's got them. I've made mistakes and seen what it's got me. I've made good decisions and seen what it's got me. So for all of those four corners, when I'm in the middle, I look left, I look right, I look up, I look down. I know which direction I want to go in. And I think that the direction I'm choosing to go in right now, everything's working in my favour. So I'm really happy.
We've had a couple of conversations off camera.
100%. We've had a few.
Well, no, we've had it today. We've had one on the
phone.
We've
had one today.
We've had one today. We've had one on the phone as well.
Forget the fight Saturday. This is what I look forward to. Meeting up with Coogan, coming to the hotel room, and him picking my brain and me picking his brain.
Listen, if you want to pick my brain about anything I do,
I think it's about time I interview you.
Is it?
100%. Because there's some questions that I'm sure I could ask you that would interest the viewers of IFL TV.
Do you know what? Feel free to say whatever you want.
Leave your comments and let me know what you think. If Coogan Cassidy needs to get an interview about the reason he asks questions, what his purpose is, what IFL TV are trying to get out of these interviews, you know, and if there's any questions that any fans would like to ask Coogan himself,
I'll tell you what we do then. We've got all week here. We'll say all week. We've got the rest of the week here.
Yeah.
So maybe after the weigh-in on Friday, where you're a bit more relaxed, we'll do a little sit down.
Yeah.
You can ask me whatever.
Part 2 coming soon.
If that really interests you.
100%. This is what I'm saying. Like, me talking to you, I want to know what your reasons are, and I'm sure people they'll like to understand, because they're just listening. They don't understand why you're asking these questions. So it'd be good for them to have an understanding of what you're trying to get out of these athletes when you ask them certain things, not just listen. Have an understanding of why.
Okay, we can definitely go into that.
100%. But let me know your thoughts, people. I think it'll be a great idea.
Okay. All right. Well, listen.
We finished already?
No, we haven't. We haven't finished at all.
Okay.
We haven't finished. Did you think I was about finished?
I thought so.
No, we haven't finished. I was going to go into what you wanted to talk about now, but we can save that for another.
Yeah.
Another thing.
Definitely.
I do want to go back to stuff about. I heard you talk to a reporter earlier on, and they must have asked you a question about Tyson Fury or someone.
Yeah, I'm like them the British heavyweights and stuff.
Yeah, and you said Fury Chisora Price, and you kind of said that you didn't want to talk about them. I just literally walked past and I heard you say that. So is that how you feel, or you just don't see the relevance of really speaking about those kind of fights yet until they're actually happening?
It's not about talking about them type of fights, because I think reality, when you look at reality, right, is that these type of fighters are what gives other fighters motivation to put in work, to know that you could potentially compete against these guys one day, and you know, your name gets mentioned in the same breath as these guys, you're thinking, even though I'm not fighting this guy, I'm fighting Sprott on Saturday, I need to show on Saturday that I am capable of competing with the likes of these guys. So every fight is a reflection of what you're capable of doing in the future. Live in the present to predict the future. What I'm doing now in my 10th fight will predict when I fight Fury in the future. So that's what I'm saying, is like, what I'm doing on Saturday has a relevance to me fighting Fury, Price, Chisora, whoever in the future. So it's quite interesting that. But where it's not reality for me, I'm living in the present. I don't get involved in people's opinions and what even, not opinions, because people put it on their Instagrams, Twitters, and Fury seems to mention my name quite often. So, but what I'm saying is that for me, I don't get involved in that hype, because my fight on Saturday is important, but it does have a reflection on what I could achieve sometime in the future, whoever it's against. So I can understand why people are forecasting me competing with these guys and mentioning their names.
I mean, to be fair, I've said this to you before. The only reason Tyson Fury mentioned your name is because your promoter had already mentioned that he feels that what
got people right is that there's a way you go about things, and I think that it's the way Fury goes about certain things. That's what seems to rattle people. It's not what he says, because he's basically said the same thing that Eddie Hearn said. Tyson Fury thinks he'll beat me, and he's willing to prove that. Eddie Hearn thinks that I'll beat Tyson Fury. I feel that I'll beat Tyson Fury, but I'm not going about it and smashing stuff, swearing, getting a rant and rave about it. I'm just chilled out and confident about my own ability and what I'm doing in AJ's world. So I think it's not what he's saying, Tyson Fury, that's creating such a stir. I think it's the way he goes about expressing the way he's feeling.
Is that wrong though?
No, he lives his life the way he wants.
Yeah.
It works for Tyson Fury. That don't work for me though. You know, that doesn't sit well with me, but each to their own.
Part of the interest of Tyson Fury is all that you said.
100%.
Is the character, is the behaviour and the things he comes out with. That.
So let's rewind a few years back when Tyson Fury was up and coming, and see, we're talking about Tyson Fury now because of what he said. This is what I'm saying. So it is kind of how he's going about it. So it is working for him. What I'm saying is that was that always the character? I'm asking Tyson now, actually. Is it always a character of yourself, or was it part of to build your profile? Is this the real Tyson Fury? Like you asked me, is this the real Anthony Joshua? Are we seeing the real Tyson Fury, or is this part and parcel of the boxing, trying to promote yourself and stuff? Just so we have an understanding of what type of person you are.
Do you know what? It's a good question.
Yeah,
but
it's just a general question.
With Tyson Fury, I do believe what you see from Tyson Fury is you'd have to say it's a version of himself, because
just a version.
It's a version of himself. I mean, I'm not saying that he's doing all this stuff just for the sake of doing it. I think it is a version of yourself. You are being a version of yourself now.
Exactly.
Is this how you are with your family and when you're with your friends?
Yeah.
That's, people don't know that, but I'm saying Tyson Fury, that's a version of himself. But he chooses to conduct his way of thought and way of going about things that way, and that kind of works for Tyson Fury, because he's probably, I'd say, the most talked about, for bad or good reasons.
He's the most talked about,
heavyweight there is. When David Haye isn't here,
Yeah.
Oh, he's not. We don't know what's happening with David Haye, but Tyson Fury.
I hope David Haye comes back as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But with Tyson Fury, he's, for
Most
good or
talked
bad
about.
reasons,
Yeah.
he's the the most talked about heavyweight. I would say there is.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said.
See, now for me, it's like you got two things. I think is that it's good to be spoken about, but for me, I think it's important to be respected as well. Respect is important. People talk about you, and you don't know whether it's good or bad. I'd rather have 100 people that respect me than 1,000 people not knowing what they think of me. I'd rather know what these people want from me, how they approach me. You know, I prefer that. That's just me personally. So it is good to have people talking about you, but it's better to have people who respect you. And that's what it comes down to, I think. Boxing is great, but when it's said and done, you're going to have people that want to approach you to come to business events and say, Coogan, come to my event, but we only want this geezer to take pictures because everyone talks about him. He's a great person to have and take pictures with, and that's what we want him for. Or you're going to have someone who says, you know what, invite this geezer. He's a great athlete. I respect him, what he stands by. let's get him down and make sure I meet him as well, because I want to do business, because he's a respectable man as well. So you got to look at the bigger picture as well. Do you know what I mean? Bigger than boxing. This is you as a person that people are buying into, not just what you do in the ring for 36 minutes. Because one day it's gonna be all said and done, innit? So people have to respect you as a man, not just a fighter.
I can hear that.
You know, it's quite interesting. Like, it's interesting because I know, like, we are gladiators and no one wants to be disrespected and that, but you just got to, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. You know, I don't see nothing wrong with someone believing in themselves and believing that they're going to knock someone's head off, because that's what we all aim to do. But it's how you say it. You know, that's the important thing. And that's why I think it's important. If you look at all the top heavyweights as well and all the top athletes, a lot of them were intelligent. There was intelligent men outside of boxing. So they knew how to conduct themselves and stuff like that, how to get around certain things. And that shows in the ring, how you conduct yourself in the ring. It's a version. Boxing is a version of the person you are. That's boxing. It's just a version. You can't hide. If you're a pussy, you're going to find out in the ring. If you're a gladiator, you find out. If you're clever, calculated, you're going to be boxed that way. So it's just a version. The person you are in real life is a version of who you are in the ring and what you do. So make sure you conduct yourself properly and be respectful, have some discipline, then you'll probably be successful in anything you do.
Okay, I was bought into that.
Did I sell you the dream?
You just sold me the dream. You just sold me that. Yeah. I want to finish by talking about Vladimir Klitschko.
Yeah, I like that subject. Who,
well, unbelievable KO of
It's quite interesting with Vladimir, isn't it? Like, sorry to cut you off, but it's like, so we had a lot. It's kind of like we've got Klitschko, unbelievable. Him and Joe Louis are the longest reigning. I don't know if it's champions of all, but I think heavyweight champions anyway. So got like people say he's boring. He's got a lot of critics. He's this, he's that. So it just interests me the fact that like he performed immaculately the other week, in my opinion. And now everyone's like Klitschko, Klitschko, Klitschko. But this is the same thing he's been doing for 10 years, you know. And the way he conducts himself, he's had so many critics. He's got people that try to write him off. A lot of people try to disrespect him. And he conducts himself in such a professional manner, doesn't get involved in the hype. And he just keeps on shutting people's opinions down, year by year, fight by fight. And if there's anyone to look up to right now in boxing, I think he's the main man. He's a great role model, and he's handling business, great champion. So respect to Klitschko and his whole team.
Shannon Briggs doesn't agree.
Sometimes I try out like them type of people don't even exist, you know. he's an interesting character, Shannon Briggs. Great champion when he was at peak. You know, I had a lot of respect for Shannon when he was at his peak. But I think it's great that he still believes in himself. But I think there's levels, and he just has to work himself way up the pecking order the right way. But I think boxing is the only sport that that the fans demand a fight. If a million people want to see a fight, and the TV know 1 million viewers are going to watch it, no matter who it is, let's get this fight on, because we know TV know that they're going to have 1 million viewers. So I think boxing is the only sport that can demand a fight by the public, isn't it? So I think Shannon Briggs understands that, and he's getting the public interest rather than doing it like my way, fighting Sprott and building up the ladder. It would be great. Don't you think it's an easier job for me just to start calling out Klitschko on IFL TV and then getting a shot next year? But I'm just doing it the promotional way, like through Eddie Hearn and Sky Sports. He's doing it by promoting himself through his iPhone and YouTube and stuff. So it's interesting. So all credit to him. But Klitschko, he handles himself well with all that pressure as well, man. Handles himself really well.
I've just had a vision into the future. I can see you in 30, 40 years' time.
30, 40 years?
30, 40 years' time. Retired.
Yeah. Been
retired for about 15 years.
Yeah.
Like the up-and-coming UK heavyweight turning up at their press conferences. Let's go, champ! I'm Anthony Joshua, man!
No, we got rid of stay humble. We hungry, baby. We hungry. We ain't humble no more. Side along them lines. Nah, you know what the best thing for me to do if I retire and I'm successful is to guide fighters coming through, not want anything from them, but guide them. You know, I'll always keep my first contract, my matchroom contract I got now, some of my commercial contracts. So when the kids come to me, say, what should I do? I say, look, this contract here, when I turn professional, I never had to go to court with my promoter. This is a steady contract that was good in my day to start my career off. This is something you can go off. Do you know what I mean? And that's how I guide fighters through. Instead of, don't worry, mate, let me do it. I'll only take 35% from you, but I'll speak to this kid. You know, that's not my angle. So that's why I aim to be successful. I can guide people through, and I'm not running up in people's conferences trying to steal their limelight.
As entertaining as it is, yeah, you're right.
It is entertaining, though.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting if you got the fight.
I'd love to get an interview with that guy.
It would be interesting if you got the fight. I think it will show a new way on how to go about getting fights.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
other people
I'll be like, Eddie, I'm sorry, bro, but I'm gonna have to rip up this contract. I can do this by myself. You know what I mean?
Just follow men on speedboats. Turn up in restaurants, pour water on their heads.
Guys on speedboats and jet skis, driving my crosser.
All right. Well, listen. This is run to 27 minutes.
Serious?
Yeah.
Kogan, it always happens that way, doesn't it?
But listen, we'll do something after the weigh-in on Friday anyway.
People, let me know your thoughts. If there's any questions you want me to ask Kogan, hit me up on my Twitter at Anthony F. Joshua, on my Instagram, Anthony_Joshua. You know, and I'll make sure.
AJBoxing.com.
AJBoxing.com's being updated. Part 2 of the videos coming after this fight, so make sure you're tuned in. There's some great stuff coming, just some great footage of a day in the life outside of these 27-minute interviews and what you see on TV. You get a whole like training footage and at home. So I'm trying to bring you some exclusive footage so you can get to understand the real AJ.
All right. Well, listen, Anthony Joshua, thank you very much for giving us your time.
No, thank you for giving me your time. And whoever watches, thank you for sitting back and watching this interview as well.
Okay. And we'll catch up with you. Bang on time.
Room service, baby. Get that steak and potato coming in now.
Good catch this. Anthony Joshua, IFL TV. Thank you very much.
Take care.
The Big Fight, sponsored by 666bet.com.